In an age of skyrocketing divorce rates, is it really possible to make love last? Welcome to the Falling in Love Forever show with Doctors Barbara and Michael Grossman, the well-known relationship experts and best-selling authors of The Marriage Map book. Each week, they share the latest information to help you enjoy your romantic partnerships so you can fall in love forever. Here are your hosts, Doctors Barbara and Michael Grossman.
I'm Dr. Michael Grossman,
I'm Dr. Barbara Grossman.
and tonight we're here to talk about marriage as a spiritual path. My background is I'm a medical doctor specializing in anti-aging regenerative medicine, keeping people young, youthful, both on the inside and on the outside. And
I'm a marriage and family therapist. I've been practicing for about 30 plus years, and I'm happy to participate in this presentation so that Michael's interest is spiritual development. He also teaches meditation, and there's a way in which we see the progress of a relationship, the growth of a relationship over time can be a genuine, deep, and abiding spiritual path. We want to share that with you today.
so in the history of Western civilization, we've had two modes or paths for spiritual development. One path is the way of a monk, priest, nun, where you just live a life of individual experience and you have a life of being in a monastery. You work with your teachers and spiritual guidance with your
Spiritual directors.
spiritual director. And that's one path. Now, that's not the common path. Nowadays, we have the path of married life, which also is a spiritual path. Married life is not particularly involved with getting everything done in a practical way and just surviving together better than you could survive alone. That's not the spiritual path of marriage. Marriage has evolved. In the Middle Ages, you had marriage moving out of the realm of just being one of just survival, that you get married to survive, that the woman needs the man to provide the food and lodging, and the man needs the woman to take care of the practical things around the house that need to be done. That moved into the Middle Ages, where it became a romantic process, where you were married for romantic reasons, that you fell in love with someone romantically. The knights and the troubadours was all these things that happened. And then all of a sudden in the 17, 18, 1900s, marriage was changing. People wanted to be in love. You had these books that were written about love, and love being romance became such an important part of marriage. And that created complexity because people weren't satisfied anymore with just being, quote, okay with your marriage. You wanted to be in love. And that brought the possibilities of spiritual growth, but brought a lot of complexities there.
Well, so you've put a lot on the table. I don't know. I think the Western tradition has always seen marriage as a covenant so it has a certain spiritual origin. However, let's look at what marriage is like in practical terms and why it can be a spiritual journey. First of all, no one knows you and as well as your partner does. You live together and you come up against each other's similarities and differences. Just today, we were talking about some plans that Michael wants to make, and he's all excited about them. And he's got he's got the possibilities for travel already arranged. Well, I'm a very slow decision maker. And when I hear his plans and his ideas, it's overwhelming. I need to digest them slowly, see if they'll, work out. I'm thinking about all the complexities of organizing time away and packing and doing a project plus various family members and all kinds of things. And so from Michael's perspective, I'm just a slow kind of deadbeat person when it comes to planning. On the other hand, back in the day, when we were young, I wanted a marriage that continued our courtship, where we had deep conversations and emotional connection. And Michael's vision, it turns out, it took years for us to realize that Michael's vision of partnership was working together. So these kinds of tensions that come up in your life cause you to see yourself more clearly, and then eventually stretch and negotiate and do some of everything, so that over time, you really grow your personality, become more flexible. You begin to accept yourself and understand yourself, and also accept and extend yourself to your partner. It's a tremendous experience of generosity of spirit. And it's also a way in which you build a life together and weave it together for everybody's joy and happiness.
So what Dr. Barb is describing is that married life today involves a lot of growth. It's not going to be a smooth ride of falling in love and just staying in love and everybody's happy. Occasionally you have a relationship like that, but that's the rare exception. Most relationships involve a lot of change and pressure to have the other person understand and accept you as you are, so different from them. And that's a process. And then they want you to accept them as being so different than you. And that quality of accepting each other is a critical quality to your own spiritual growth. Frequently, men grow into this phase of becoming a warrior before women, where they learn that they've got to make money, they got to be successful in their business and their career. And the women may be less motivated in that, but maybe not. But the man, after he gets successful in his career, as a man with his brain chemistry, his brain structure, his hormones, he needs to learn to come from his heart. That's a big, big kind of thing for a guy to do, to learn to come from your heart. And the woman presses him to do that. And so Barbara and I had that experience happen. Barbara was a big force to get me to come from my heart more and to not be so into just accomplishing and achieving things in business and success and career, but coming from my heart and appreciating her more from that point of view of coming from your heart rather than what can we achieve and accomplish. The woman, on the other hand, has other issues to deal with. If she's having babies, she has to deal with this whole functionality of dealing with babies, and she's forced to come from her heart because babies need that the first 2 years of their life. And then when they get older, then they need the woman to become tougher and more demanding and teaching them how to behave and so on. And the woman also has to then learn to be tougher and stricter, but to balance that out with coming from a heart. And so a woman may learn at a different time sequence, but a woman will often have to learn that. And for Barbara, she went through the time where she was looking to come, and be successful and creative, but how to balance that with the heart is a big issue for women to learn that. So men and women have their own issues and they don't always happen at the same time, but they require us to work together and listen to each other.
Right. And while all this is going on and we're trying to be good partners with each other and good parents to our children, we come up against the old wounds from our own childhood, ways in which our parents were wonderful and ways in which our parents may have disappointed us. And that's another opportunity to reflect and connect the dots about our feelings and what we want in our adult lives, and to forgive our parents because they were just human like we are, doing their best. and to then take all that renewed energy and apply it to the life we want to live in the present time. It's so creative. It really requires so much, reflection and sharing and connecting. It deepens love. It makes your lives rich and meaningful. And we want that for you. We want that for all of our couples.
And don't expect it to be the smooth ride, because these are changes that happen to you individually, to your partner individually. And then you make all kinds of requests of each other to understand how different you are in different ways, and to appreciate those differences and not to make anyone wrong. And then to go through a process where you're growing to be able to accept your partner in different ways, and at the same time making requests. So each of us have to learn to come from our hearts, and also to have that firmness of being able to make clear boundaries. So there's so many things to learn. And marriage is that what we call a crucible. A crucible is a place where you heat up metal really, really hot, and the metal melts, and then it purifies itself when you heat it up. Any impurities in the metal moves out and moves up, and then the metal can become a very strong alloy like steel, and all the impurities come out. And that's what happens in a marriage, that all the impurities come out. You learn to forgive. You learn to go through this cleansing process where you forgive your parents for what they've done. You forgive other people for what they've done. And then you can be open more to really loving and yet creating boundaries. So there's lots of things you're doing at the same time. Marriage is a spiritual path. And what you require is the skills to get you through that process. And you don't learn the skills automatically. You have to be taught these skills. And so my wife and I, we love teaching these skills to couples. We learn how to listen to each other, how to make requests for each other, how to understand each other's history, so that you can actually grow through this process in a way that really brings fulfillment, spiritual fulfillment, to each of you.
Yeah, so I appreciate you being here with us. I hope you see the possibilities for your lives together. There are times that are really tough, but learning how to talk and share effectively can make a huge difference, and understanding what you need and want, and how love shows up for you, what's important to you. These are some of the pieces that will create joy and satisfaction in your lives together.
Well, thanks for being here with us. It's a pleasure. We look forward to speaking to you again real soon.
Wishing you love.
Thanks.
Thank you for watching the Falling in Love Forever show with Doctors Barbara and Michael Grossman. Join us next week for another informative discussion to help you keep your love alive. Be sure to visit us at themarriagemap.com, or find out about our relationship classes at fallinginloveforever.com.